I think this is as big a deal as Watergate, as 9/11, and I think they should have a 9/11 type commission.
Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid comparing Russia's interference in the U.S. election to American calamities and calling for a full investigation. And it's time now for our Sunday Group. GOP strategist Karl Rove, Fox News political analyst and columnist for The Hill, Juan Williams, president of the liberal think tank, the Center for American Progress, Neera Tanden, and Michael Needham, head of the conservative Heritage Action for America. Well, Neera, this is personal for you because in the leak of the Podesta email, some of yours came out.
Yeah, a lot of mine came out, and it was covered often. And I think the truth of this is we've learned a lot over the last week. We've learned that the CIA found that this was not just to undo democracy or hurt America, but was really designed for the Trump campaign. The CIA also has indicated that Putin was involved. And then over the weekend, we now have heard great consensus about this, which is the FBI agrees as well. And I think the real issue here is why there isn't more interest on the part of Republicans to find out what has actually happened. I agree with Reince Priebus. We need to know about the what, when, who, why, and where. And that's why we do need an investigation. We had 33 House committees and Senate committees on Benghazi. You think we could get one committee from the House to investigate this? And I don't understand why Paul Ryan won't put the interests of American democracy ahead of partisanship and call for an independent investigation into this.
What did you make of Priebus's reluctance to accept the conclusion of the CIA and say he would like to hear directly from the FBI and the Director of National Intelligence?
It's not the CIA, it's also the FBI, we've learned. I don't understand it. I don't understand why they don't want to know. If there's questions about this, if there's no connection to this election, then let's get all the facts out. If he's so confident about the fact that this didn't help them get elected, then what do they have to hide?
But even if the Russians were, the CIA conclusion is correct, or the consensus of the intelligence community,
FBI
and the Russian hacking was done to interfere in the election and also to help Trump, is it fair to hold Trump responsible for that?
I hold him responsible for not wanting to give us the facts, to try to say there's nothing here, to attack the intelligence analysts and the Central Intelligence Agency instead of trying to find out. That's what I hold him responsible for. I don't understand why, as president of this country, he will be president, why he doesn't want us to know what happened here. It is the case the FBI was investigating. It is the case that during this election, the FBI was investigating Paul Manafort's role. It's his connections to Russia. I do not understand why, if they think everything is up and up, why they want to shift information, why they don't want to share this information. It does make people wonder what is going on.
One more question before I bring everybody else in. What do you think of the effort by a number of Democrats to urge Republican electors to vote for someone else?
Look, I think the most important thing here is really just getting the information about Russia. I know that there are a lot of electors who are interested in a lot of things going on here. I think the request to have a briefing about this is an appropriate request.
Karl.
First of all, let's be clear. The CIA said Russia did not have, quote, a single purpose. That is to say, the idea that this was all about helping Trump. They repeatedly targeted, the CIA said, both parties trying to get into their systems.
And only one
and let me finish. And they said that this was about, that an important part of the Russian hacking was aimed at undermining confidence in the American electoral system. Now, this is much, I agree there ought to be an investigation about it. I agree that there ought to be. That's why it was astonishing to me that the CIA would not begin that process last week by giving a briefing to the House Intelligence Committee as requested.
No,
let me finish. I didn't interrupt you.
Sorry.
Now, let's be clear. I love all the hyperventilation on the left that this somehow was responsible for Hillary Clinton's defeat. On October 6th, the day before the first WikiLeaks, she was at 48% in the Real Clear Politics average, and on Election Day, she got 48.08%. Let's be clear what this is about. One, a coup. They're attempting to have 37 electors flip, which is not going to happen, or to throw it in the House of Representatives and somehow have 26 states, delegations, some of them dominated by Republicans, vote for somebody other than Donald Trump. Not going to happen.
Let me bring in Neera. Is it a coup?
It's absolutely not a coup. The question here is, can we just get information to the country? It's wrong. The CIA director reached out to Nunes, who would not take his call.
The House Intelligence Director.
He was on the Trump transition. He reached out to him last week. He would not take his call.
And the CIA director would not respond to his invitation to come brief the committee, Democrats and Republicans.
So I think we should get the information out. So do you want the House to hold a committee, hold a hearing on this, an independent investigation?
I want the Congress to do so in the right time, but I do not want it to be used as an excuse to delay the constitutional process. This is an effort to delegitimize Donald Trump. I saw this happen in 2002 when Democrats went around saying Bush is not a legitimately elected president. Many of your same allies were out there saying the same stupid things. And Don Breyer, who sat here, he was quoted in the Washington Post saying, quote, we're about ready to be saddled with, quote, an illegitimate president. This is all about undermining the confidence in the system. After all the pious discussions about, oh, we've got to accept the outcome of the election, Donald Trump, the Democrats are now refusing to accept the outcome of the election and using this controversy, which, again, I point out, had no, at most, de minimis impact on the election.
We can both agree. I think that the truth is here, we now both agree that there should be an independent investigation, and that's great.
Okay.
Congressional investigation.
During the third presidential debate, I asked both candidates about their willingness to accept the results of the election. Here it was. Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit to that principle?
What I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
Well,
okay?
Chris, let me respond to that because that's horrifying.
One, as you remember, at that time, Democrats were outraged at Donald Trump's response. But aren't they engaged, as Karl suggests, in exactly that now, refusing to accept the results of the election and trying to undercut the legitimacy of Donald Trump as our next president?
Well, there's no question Democrats run the risk of looking like hypocrites given what happened at that expertly moderated debate in October.
Pretty good.
But in fairness, you know, at the time what was on the table was the idea of voter fraud, and it was being pushed by Republicans and Trump. Oh, there's so much voter fraud in the country that the race could be tossed to Hillary Clinton illegitimately. He could win the popular vote and be denied all this. That's what he was responding to. Now we're dealing with something else, which is about Russian interference in the democratic process and tilting the election and the news coverage against Hillary Clinton and for Donald Trump. So when we come to the Electoral College now, you got to remember the Founding Fathers, I just finished a book about the Founding Fathers. Founding Fathers did not design the Electoral College to be a rubber stamp. To the contrary, they think the electors should have the capacity to exercise some discretion. Do I think that a coup is going to occur tomorrow? Absolutely not. But it's not the case to say that it delegitimizes Donald Trump for people to ask questions.
Well, Michael, you're a
Democrats don't run the risk of looking like hypocrites. The Democrats are in fact being hypocrites. There's a 0.0% chance that the Electoral College tomorrow will not vote for Donald Trump as President of the United States. This is all a distraction. What we should be focused on right now is that Donald Trump is making spectacular appointments to the United States cabinet. I think this may be the best cabinet that the country has had, certainly in my lifetime. That is what the issue is at. The issue is that Donald Trump won an election because he connected with people who have real anxiety, and that the Democrats would be better serving themselves if they spent their time talking about the economic anxiety that people in this country face.
But wait a minute. But I don't want to do just, I want to get out of the boilerplate here, Michael. You talk a lot about constitutional principles when you're here on that. Is the electors and the idea that they might re-examine the whole question as to whether or not they support Trump, is that exercising constitutional principles?
Sure, but there's no chance that Donald Trump will not be the president.
I'm not asking about the chances. I'm asking about the principle.
It is perfectly valid for the Electoral College to look at it. There is no chance that that will happen. It is possible that an asteroid might come out of the sky and also change the outcome of who's going to be sworn in on January 20th. The fact is that on January 20th, Donald Trump is going to be sworn in as President of the United States because tomorrow the Electoral College is going to elect him President of the United States.
I think
and we should be focusing on the issues that our country has and not debating hypotheticals that have absolutely no chance of
Michael and I agree that the Electoral College has the right to exercise some discretion to look and see whether or not this person is properly qualified. But I think what you're revealing, Michael, is an anxiety that somehow, because Trump did not win the popular vote, lost by about 3 million, that people would delegitimize. That's what you and Karl are saying. Delegitimize.
I'm focused on the policy achievements that are going to happen.
Let me just assure you, it's over.
Which is a
It's
failing law,
over.
and
Donald
it's going
Trump.
to be repealed.
Oh, please.
And I know that's disappointing to you.
No, if that happened,
I have no
but I'm
anxiety.
saying
I feel very
Donald Trump, I
comfortable
think
with that.
everybody on this panel, including the previous panel, said Donald Trump is going to be put in position to be president of the United States tomorrow. But boy, on the right,
So let's
such
talk about
anxiety
Obamacare.
about his.
It used to be that they gave us lectures on the original intent of the Constitution. I remember Michael and others talking about the original intent. If there is an original intent, it was that electors would deliberate on this election.
They will live up to that and enter their judgment. And after tomorrow, because you respect the Constitution so much, I know you're going to welcome the new incoming administration as validated.
And
Panel,
you
we
and
have to
I-
take a
you
break
and I
here,
will
but
have
when
that
we come back, there is